And joining us now is Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is with us. Secretary Noem, thank you for being with us. We appreciate it. One of the biggest problems we have here is when you look at a state like California and the sanctuary status, there are handcuffs on local law enforcement. You know, for example, and I talked about this a little bit in my opening monologue, and, you know, for example, state and local police officers are prohibited from even inquiring about one's immigration status during a routine course of their work. And state and local law enforcement officers are forbidden from holding illegal immigrants until they can be transferred to federal custody. Now, and federal agencies are prohibited from commandeering local authorities. So there is a real the stranglehold in terms of local law enforcement being able to do their job, even those that would want to support ICE and in their mission to keep Californians safe. What's your reaction to that?
Yeah, you're exactly right, Sean. And I would say that most of these law enforcement officers in those sanctuary states are very unhappy with the policies that they have to follow because they want to be there to back up other law enforcement officers. They want to be there to help make their communities safer and to get these bad criminals out of their states and out of this country. And in LA, what we have been going after is the worst of the worst. They're murderers. They're people who have been perpetuating assault and trafficking human beings and drugs and been devastating these communities for years. And they are so anxious to see people be able to raise their families in a safe state again and make California a fantastic place to be and to have a future. But that is not what happens under the leadership of Gavin Newsom. And so right now our ICE agents are there. They're doing their work. They're following through on exactly what President Trump said that he would do. And they're doing it with the backup of the National Guard. The National Guard that has been deployed under Federal 10, which is federal status, which is completely authorized and a status in which can help make America safe again. Okay,
but we're talking, you say the worst of the worst. You're talking about murderers and rapists here. Mm-hmm. We're not talking
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, that's Sean. Those are the people we're going after. I mean, those are our targets. Today, we had over 400 to 500 targets we were going after that were known members of gangs in LA that have been victimizing people for years. That Gavin Newsom has done absolutely nothing about. That Mayor Bass has done absolutely nothing about. Listen, I served with her in Congress before she was ever mayor, and she is a train wreck of a mayor now that is endorsing these kind of activities, has allowed her city to be completely devastated with crime, and now she's holding press conferences talking about the fact that people have the right to peacefully protest and that they're a city of immigrants. Well, they're not a city of immigrants, they're a city of criminals because she has protected them for so many years. And so we're coming in and doing what the president has said that he's going to do, and he's going to allow people to live in a safe community again. And we're going to use the authority that he has as president of the United States to conduct these operations. And the more that people conduct violence against law enforcement officers, boy, we're going to hit them back, and we're going to hit them back harder than we ever have before. And we conducted more operations today than we did the day before. And tomorrow we're going to double those efforts again. The more that they protest and commit acts of violence against law enforcement officers, the harder ICE is going to kind of come after them, because these people are patriots. These ICE officers are people who are fighting for their country, and I'm so proud of them. They've acted with dignity. They've acted with grace under stressful situations, and when they've been disrespected, they've responded appropriately under the law to make sure that they were treating every single individual the same and making sure that due process was followed and that they were doing their jobs. So this is an unfortunate situation that we see violence and instigators out there, but the President Trump is really dedicated to bringing peace again.
As cars have been burning and agitators have been attacking police and law enforcement and ICE agents, if you turn on fake news CNN or MSDNC, or you listen to Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, Maxine Waters, we keep hearing the same mantra, just like the Summer of Love 2020. Mostly peaceful, mostly peaceful, mostly peaceful. Do we have a count how many officers were injured in all of this?
Oh, we've got, I mean, many that have had minor injuries. You've got some that have had serious injuries, shattered bones, concussions that have been hurt from different bricks that have been thrown. You've seen the various pictures and videos of different vehicles that have burned and what they have done to not even just victimize law enforcement officers, but people in these communities that were stopped on a freeway for hours, weren't able to get to their families, and were victimized from the objects being thrown. So it's an unfortunate situation, but it's one that President Trump is going to shut down because he remembers 2020. I remember 2020. I remember where all this started back in 2020, which was in Minnesota with Tim Walz as their governor, who let his city burn for days. And then he called up neighboring governors like me and said, would you please deploy your National Guard to help me and bail me out because I let this go too far? And we didn't. We said, listen, you had poor leadership and you won't put your own National Guard out there on the front line. Why should we bail you out of a situation to where you allowed your entire city to burn to the ground? And the President Trump had to step in. He's doing that again, and he's being very proactive, and I'm proud to be on the front lines with him to bring peace to this city and not let it get out of hand like it did in 2020.
Last question. What about the pallets of bricks mysteriously appearing at the scene of where some of this took place? Have you found evidence of organization and funding?
Absolutely, Sean. These are organized. These are people that are being paid to do this. You can follow how they behave, the signals they give to each other in these crowds and these protests to instigate violence. This is an operation, and it's professionally done. They've done it before, and we're going to stop it and make sure that we prosecute every single one of them.